And then our last, but not least, candidate that we have, panelist that we have is Dr. DrLevatta Levels. Dr. DrLevatta Levels was appointed by John Wiley Price for the Citizens Election Advisory Council, and she's also one of my fellow precinct chairs. So let's give them a round of applause, and I'm going to ask them to just share with us their views on why is it important, because we hear so many people, especially our young folk, indicate my vote does not matter. Why should I vote? Republicans are going to take it over anyway. The Republicans rule the House anyway. Democrats ain't doing nothing, so come on in, welcome. Democrats aren't doing anything. Why should I vote? So what I'd like to do is, I'd like to give the mic to each of you, allow you an opportunity to share with us your background and why you are so passionate about why you believe it is important, no matter what gender, race, or age you are, or party affiliation, right? Doesn't matter what party affiliation you are, the important thing is we need you to vote. So I'm going to start with Mr. Reuben.
Once again, thank you for having me. My name is Reuben Lael. I'm a native of Dallas. As she said, I work with former Councilman Casey Thomas on the Our Voice initiative. We started that in the pandemic, and I was able to meet these two beautiful ladies here who are definitely in the trenches all day, every day. And for me, as I was on my way over here and I was kind of rehearsing what I felt was really important, I think the biggest thing that we have to find value in is that the vote shapes society. Okay? And not only voting for individuals who represent our interests, but even their votes, once they're in those positions, they shape society. And I think that's what we're seeing in the recent years. We're seeing society be shaped in a different way from what we know it to be. So we really have to reinstill the value of voting and the outcome of what voting is for our generation. Of course, it's marginalized, and I think when the voting block wasn't as dense, does that make sense? Because we have so many voters, we have so many people registered. If we look at the numbers here in Dallas County, we have over 100,000 people voting, but we only have 8% of that demographic going out to vote. And so I think it's really important to reinstill the value that the vote still can shape the society that we're living in. Example, with education. We know that that is on the table right now, and we know our children, I'm an educator, are in need of education that is available, accessible, and all-inclusive to make sure that they're prepared for the futures that they want to pursue. So it's important that we vote for the right people to be in position to defend that interest, okay? Because it's going to shift culture. If we move into a vouchers type system, that's going to change education for what we know it. And we have to reinstill in our peers, colleagues, our elders, even those who are in high school, those who are in college right now, that our vote has the ability to shape society. And if we can give that type of power back to the people, I think we will start to see a different shift in voting, voting turnout. Not voting registration, but voting turnout. We have to reinstill the value that votes do shape society. And if we can maximize and mobilize enough votes, we can shift that society in the direction that protects our interests and our rights.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Dionna.
I would say that the messenger matters, right? It's important for us to engage young folks with other young folks to understand what they're going through and what they need. We've hired over 20 organizers this year, and we've been able to register over 4,000, mostly students at the universities and the community colleges, right? But it's because we're hiring people who look like them, not their skin color, but their age. They understand what's important to them. And also flexible income, right? Like, money is important. And I think when we are able to show the students that there's power in finances. That forces the conversation as well, right? Not only do we want you to show up and vote, but there's an opportunity for you to pay your car note, right? To get some money for your cell phone bill. We also encourage students to engage every single election cycle, right? Reuben mentioned education. There was a proposition about the cost of living increase for teachers, right? And so we have to get them to the point where they're understanding the power that can be built during every election cycle and not just training them to look for someone to give their power to, right? Because there's a message in society that tells us that we cannot be the holder of these positions, that we are not to be empowered, that we are supposed to find someone to give our power to, right? But when we train them, first by just on the local level, right? Just registering voters, really showing up to county commissioner meetings, city council meetings. We show them the power of their voice beyond the vote, right? We train them how to go from making a complaint to making a real demand, right? And in order to do that, you have to take inventory of your situation, right? We have to think about what is important to us versus reacting to the major issues that are being like plastered across the TV, right? Like everybody's talking about abortion, so that must be the only thing that matters. When the reality is that's not the only thing that matters, right? Like we should be talking about healthcare. We shouldn't just be talking about abortion, right? How can you force someone to have a baby when black women are dying at higher rates, right? How can you force them to have a baby when there are no hospitals, right? And so we have to have a broader conversation, but we also have to take inventory of our personal experience, right? Like when you can come to a city council meeting and say 75% of the people in my zip code have to drive more than 20 miles to get to a hospital, that says a lot more. And so for us, I think it's important to show them that it's important to vote every single time, even if there's not a person on the ballot, to show them the flexible income that's attached to this work. We spent $14 billion in the 2020 presidential election, right? And that money needs to end up in our communities because they're coming to our communities to get those numbers, right? And then the last thing is just about making sure that we see ourselves in those positions of power, right? Like Casey Thomas shouldn't be the last person that we recognize in that seat. We should be training up the next generation as we're in office so that they don't have to fight as many battles. They are coming in equipped, they have a foundation, and so they understand the needs of the community, but they have the process to really push forward change.
Thank you for that.
Good evening. First, let me just invite everyone. We have appetizers over here. We've got chicken wings and fish and fries. If you like, please partake. There's plenty of food over here. Come make yourself a plate. So, good evening again. I'm Dr. DrLevatta, and I am an Oak Cliff native. 75216, the Super Block. That's where we from. That's my hood. But, right, put it in your face. Okay, let's stop. We're not going to do that whole song. Not that whole song. Okay. But, I want to share that it's important that we engage all of our voters. I don't want anyone to be overlooked. We talk about the youth, but there are some seniors that have not been engaged. And we have to look at our seniors. We have to get our parents and our great aunties and everyone to the poll. If your great aunties are like mine, they don't believe in early voting. They want to go the day of. I have to take off every election day and take my aunt and my uncle. My aunt is 89 years old. She won't vote. She only votes on election day at Singing Hills Library. I have to go over there and pick she and my uncle up and take them to vote. That's my commitment. But I know that's the only way they're going to vote. So we have to understand we can't overlook our seniors. We can't overlook our middle income, our middle age, and we cannot overlook our Gen Zs. I'm a mother. I'm a mother of millennials and those Gen Zers. They get on our nerves. But we have to connect with them. We have to listen because they really are our future. In my role, I have been appointed to the Dallas County Citizens Election Commission. It is the commission's responsibility to make decisions about how elections are governed in Dallas County. We have a new elections administrator coming to Dallas County. She said, yeah, I didn't say that. Please let the record reflect that I didn't say that. But understand that we have to be in all spaces. Casey has been an elected city councilman, myself on the elections commission. Thank you. I have some. But here recently, we had Dionna here that's working in the streets. She is hiring people, making sure we get enough people registered. But we have to get those registered persons to the voting machines. It doesn't help to end at registration. We have to have votes. What does that look like? And why do we vote? First of all, it is about issues. She mentioned abortion. Did you pay attention to the news in the last 2 weeks? That in Kentucky, we actually have a Democratic governor in the state of Kentucky. Now that may not seem too important, but let me tell you about the last 10 to 15 years. Every governor that has been elected in the last 10 years in Kentucky, it predicted the next presidential election. So, when they had a Republican governor, it was predicted that we would have a Republican president. The last 2 elections, they've had Democratic governors. They're predicting a Democratic president in 2024. People are understanding we cannot allow certain parties to take over our country because it affects our children, it affects our health care, it affects our homes, it affects the economy. So please, we want you to re-engage. We want you to look at the issues, not the persons. Look at the issues. Look at the issues and how have they supported you lately, in the words of Janet Jackson. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to each of our panelists. You know, one thing that I heard each of them say is, when you go to the polls, you're voting to show the government your satisfaction, your dissatisfaction, what your preference is, what you like and what you don't like. You're not voting because that's my cousin and he's black and he's a Democrat. No, we're voting because we want to show you that we are engaged and we're concerned about the issues when it comes to democracy. Democracy is a movement, not a moment. So don't think when you go to the polls and cast that vote, things are going to change at 10 o'clock when they show the results across the screen. We have got to keep pushing. We have got to vote in every single election, especially the local elections, because that's what impacts us the most. Okay, so I have a few questions that I do want to ask our panelists. And this time I'm going to start with Dr. Levels. Dr. Levels, what do we need to do to turn out the vote in 2024? What do we need to do, from your perspective, to turn out the vote in 2024? And I'm going to pose that question to each of you, so I want you to be thinking about it. What do we need to do to turn out the vote?
Well, we have a playbook that's already been presented to us by the state of Georgia. Georgia showed us that we can win in red states. Yes. We know that it takes, again, as I stated before, it takes each individual to play their role. It's so simple. Play your part. Play your part. You can lead in voter registration. You can be an elected official. You can be on the commission. You can be the pastor of the church that is pushing people to vote. We all have a part. And if you don't have a part, that's the problem. Right. That's the problem. Right. Look around and begin with your inner circle. Begin with your family members. How many of you have young adults in your household that are 18 to 30? Not necessarily in your household, but in your circle. Raise your hand. You know people that are 18 to 30. You know those people that are ages 18 to 30. Thank you. Every one of them need to be registered and voting. That's where you start. That's where you start. If you want to be engaged further, you can reach out to us. We can get you engaged. We need precinct chairs. We need people throughout Dallas County that you're interested in ensuring that we're registering voters. You're ensuring that people are getting to the polls. and you are providing educational information about issues in the community. We're knocking on doors, we're calling homes. I got a new list just today. I'm getting ready to start calling homes tomorrow for the next 7 days, trying to ensure that people are engaged in this upcoming election. It's less than a year away. I know it seems like a long way. It's not far. 11 months is not far. We have to begin today to ensure that we have victory in November 24th. And it begins with us, with our individual circles, and then committing to your communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Levels.
I think that we have to have more collaboration between those running for office. I think it's important for instance, last year when Beto was running, I think it would have been a little bit more impactful for him to engage with, like, Jasmine Crockett's campaign a little bit more. Reach down to the judges. I think that if we really create a slate to give folks a reason to vote, you know, and a lot of times, because I mean, we knew Beto, but like, you hadn't really done anything here. Right. But if you partnered with a judge or a state rep, right? If you partner with someone who we know and we respect, then you would get those votes, but you would also get access to those GOTV campaigns, right? Like, every campaign has their own list, right? And I think that we have to have more collaboration from the top down or the bottom up, really, because the folks on the bottom will have more power, you know, with your day-to-day lives, right? So I think that's one thing. Another thing is making sure that folks know the tools that are available to them, right? Like Vote 411 is a great website that will allow you to put your address into the system. It'll pull up the sample ballot for you. It'll give you stances on each candidate, and that creates, that does two things, right? It reduces anxiety when you get to the polls because you can literally print that out, you can make your decision before you go, and it reduces wait times versus you stand there for 20 minutes trying to figure out, okay, that sounds like, because what we do is like, okay, that sounds like a black person, or that sounds like somebody that I recognize. It's like, no, what do they stand for? Where are they, you know, what have they done? And you feel confident walking in. And then the last thing is transportation, right? We have to leverage our community churches. Every single church usually has a church van, right? So as a community, we need to be putting gas in that church van and having them go around to these apartment complexes, these senior homes, right, the assisted living facilities, making sure that folks know when they have transportation to polling location. Uber and Lyft also offer free rides usually on election day. So there are resources out there. It's more so just about disseminating information and making sure people know, you know, when they can tap into that. And then the last thing is Vote Riders is a great organization that will help you get IDs. A lot of times people don't have a form of ID that's acceptable. They will pay for the ID, they will fill out the paperwork for you, they will pick you up and take you to the appointment. So again, it's just about collaborating, the campaign's collaborating, making sure that we're tapping into those resources, and encouraging folks to get out there and early voting.
All right, thank you. You hit on some stuff.
I think all of that is great. I'm going to piggyback as quickly as I can, using my words. One thing I've been focusing on over the last 6 months is why people aren't voting. Okay, because we encounter that conversation more than we encounter people who are just, you know, fully invested in the work that we're doing. And one thing I like to say is an educated voter will always vote.
Okay.
And we have so many barriers to education. We have so many barriers to understanding what's on the ballot. Why is it on the ballot? Who put it on the ballot? What does that mean? What power does it give them after I am either for or against it? So that right there, that minutia, it already, distracts and causes a person not to want to participate in the process. So, two things: we have to learn why people aren't voting and use that as a bridge. Because it seems to me that so many times we dismiss people when they have a reason for not voting. We dismiss them and then we lose the voter. And we never really understand why they aren't voting, so we're never able to really build a bridge to why they should vote. Okay? So that's a little backwards, you know what I'm saying? But if a person says, not only do I feel like my vote's not counting, but when I look at Dallas, I'm not seeing a hospital being built in 75216. I'm not seeing a grocery store being built. I only see one Walmart over there off of Keith and Loop 12. Okay, so then if for those of us who are the talented 10, okay, then I can take that information and say, okay, well, that's important. Well, here's the person that made that decision. Here's why we need to get them out of office. Okay?
Say that.
These are the people that made this. These are the council members that made this decision.
Yes.
This is the one council member in your zip code.
Accountability.
And so we're able to take them from their not to their yes, so that they have more of a pathway to saying, you know what, not even more important that I haven't gotten what I needed, but I'm able to participate in getting my community what it needs down the road.
Yeah.
Because this is not going to be, like she said, it's not going to be overnight. It's not an immediate thing. We really have to learn how to lay the foundation. As well as the last thing I'll say is play your position. Okay? And this is what you said, and I'll connect your 2 points. We need our current elected officials to play their position and to remain in place until the right replacement is found to defend our rights and protect the policies that we want to see in place. Right now, I'm seeing too many of our elected officials become very egotistical and becoming career-oriented so that they're moving in positions when I need you to maintain a vote in the House. Okay? Sometimes we're always thinking about, oh, we just need to take care of 75216, or we just need to take care of 75208 in West Dallas. No, we need to make sure that we're populating the horseshoe. You know, my mom's been on the school board since I was in 6th grade. Actually 7th grade, because she lost when I was a 6th grader and she won when I was a 7th grader. But what I've learned more about her in being an elected official is she knows how to make sure that horseshoe vote comes out right. And right now we lose the horseshoe vote because we're only invested on our side of the zip code. And the African American experience in Dallas County is scattered. We're everywhere, and that's the part they can't maintain. They don't like that part, so they're trying to re-segment everything. So while we're scattered, while we're in every zip code, we really need to infiltrate every position, and like you said, if possible, stay in those roles, maintain that power so we can see the policy change that we want to see. Because we know good goddamn well, I hate that that's not the church way, but
That's all right.
75216 can only do so much with this 75216. This is Dallas, the city of Dallas, right? So we need a horseshoe vote more than we just need a representative from our community.
Oh, gone.
Are y'all getting this? Is
Yes.
it helpful to anybody else other than me?
Yes.
He said, play your role. This is, I want y'all to get this, because this is real stuff, and I'm so glad we have these panel members who are just open and transparent with our community regarding what we need to do. My next question is, what are the challenges that you see coming? What are some of the challenges that you see coming in this 2024 election? And what do we do? What are some of the challenges that you see coming in this upcoming 2024 election? And what do we do?
Go ahead, Reuben.
The biggest challenge we're going to have is misinformation. So it's going to be really important, like what we do tonight, it needs to become a lifestyle. We need to have ongoing, continuous conversation about how to vote, where to be, how to do it, and simplify the issue. I know we have gotten to a space where we're saying being black is not a monolith, but when is it a monolith? Because I feel, and I wasn't there in the 1950s and 60s, but I felt like there was just a synergy that we missed. There was a homogeneous, behavioral trait that was traceable, and it was tangible, and it showed up when it needed to show up. Now my generation, we so diverse within ourselves, it seems the simplest of issues that should connect us together tends to not even gain our interest. So we have to find what is that universal message for all of us as African Americans. Curtis King at the Black Academy would say, black gotta take care of black. Because ain't nobody else gonna take care of black right now. And so that's one of my simplest reasons for asking someone to vote. Now the unfortunate next challenge we have is we do not have a true blue candidate who's gonna represent black issues. And that's going to be the biggest deterrent from our non-voters who also may be registered the biggest complaint is, well, I don't feel that person's going to represent my issues. I don't feel that person is really going to give me something tangible. And unfortunately, the track record of Democrats that we have put in position have not delivered on the promise after leveraging individuals, profiles, persons. So we're going to see all kinds of misinformation. Our celebrities are going to come out, our large and in charge, our football players, our NFL, our NBA players. We're going to see all of that on the rise. But what we have to be clear about is, what is our message as Black people? Who do we want to see representing us? And how do we have a clear-cut message that no one can infiltrate?
My granny used to say, put it where the goats can get it. Is that not what they do? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I think, kind of to piggyback off what Reuben said, I think one of our major challenges is that we're beholden to the Democratic Party, right? I am not a Democrat or a Republican. I like to stand in the middle and state my claim. What can you do for me, right? Because the reality is, if the person we're voting for doesn't win, there's still an elected person in office, right? And they still have a responsibility to serve us. And I think that when we get so caught up in, oh, this isn't the person I voted for, but I still have a demand. I'm still coming to your office. I'm still showing up. I still have expectations. And I think when we openly make ourselves a Democrat, we create an opportunity for them to not engage us, right? They come the last 3 weeks before election because they know that we're a sure vote. It's like, it's nothing sure over here because you're not doing nothing, right? And so we have to really do that as a united front, right? We have to say that we are not for sale. You have to do the work if you want our support. The same thing for the Republicans, right? If they don't feel like we're even an option for them, they're not going to engage us. And I'm not saying that I will vote for a Republican, but you need to spend some of that money too. Come knock on some of our doors, hire some of our people. Even if I'm going to say no, you need to spend that money, right? And so, like, there's an economy below this that we're not engaging with, because they spend billions of dollars to rob us of our vote. So we need to get some of that money up front, and we also need to make sure that we understand, regardless to who wins, I'm showing up at your office, right? Because you're supposed to serve us.
I like that.
Thank you, Dionna. Dionna made great points. I want to additionally add that in Dallas County, it's not very well known, but we have so much potential in Dallas County.
Yeah.
We have the potential to decide who will be the mayor all the way down. We have registered enough Black people in Dallas County to elect who we want, when we want, how we want. But what happens is, after we register voters, we don't vote. Those registered voters don't get out and they don't cast their votes. And because they don't cast their votes, we allow other persons to make those decisions for us. Right now, we know that Dallas County is the majority Hispanic. Have you been to Dallas ISD schools lately? Majority Hispanic. The entire district. Oak Cliff is majority Hispanic. Right now, we're only holding Lincoln, Madison, I'm gonna say barely South Oak Cliff. Carter's gone, Kimball's gone, Velt's gone. We only have 3 high schools that are majority African American. And when you look at the data of our students and how they're performing, there's absolutely no reason why anyone in Dallas, a Black person in Dallas County, is not voting. It is astounding. We should be at school board meetings beating down the doors, asking them, why are our Black children not performing where they need to? They're receiving the same monies and the same funding as Anglo students, Hispanic students, Asian students. Why are the Black children not performing? And out of the words of the superintendent, she said it's not the children's fault. Those were her words. She said we have a systemic racism issue that has plagued our school district. And over time, our students have suffered. And they continue to suffer, you know why? Because no one holds them accountable.
Yes.
We don't hold them accountable. I'm a graduate of Skyline High School, again, 75216, Oak Cliff. My mother put me on the bus. You're not going to school over here, you're going to go way over there and get you a better education. That's what she thought was going to happen. And I'm thankful that I did get a good education in Skyline High School. But understand, Skyline High School is majority Hispanic. Those parents throughout Dallas County are advocating for their children. What I'm saying is the biggest challenge is we have the numbers, we don't act. So the biggest challenge is transferring this emotion that we get, this passion that we have, and actually acting and voting and going to the voting center on the election day. That's the biggest challenge that we have. We can be tired, we can be exhausted, we can be through with Dallas ISD, through with the Democratic Party, I'm through with the mayor, I'm through with the city council, I'm through with President Biden. We can be through with everybody. But a non-vote is a vote.
Yes, it really is.
Every non-vote is a vote.
Yes.
You have to understand that when you decide not to, you just decided. And what we need for you to do is decide in a affirmative way where you want your monies and your dollars to be spent. So to me, the biggest challenge is moving from passion to action.
I'm gonna let, is this helpful to anybody other than myself? Has this been helpful? Would you guys like to see more of this on a regular basis, especially as we approach 2024? Because I'm thinking, I heard the panelists say we gotta take care of us. We've got to educate us. We want to make sure you are educated. We want to get the word out. Before, I'm going to let each panelist give us some closing remarks, and I want them to speak from the heart and share with us in closing. If I can say one last thing to make an impact, if I can say one last thing to make an impact to you as a citizen, what would that one thing be? Yes, sir. You have a question?
Yes.
Well, let us hear it.
It's a question and a statement. I know it, right? And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna kind of preface it with a small story so y'all really understand, because you mentioned the word impact. I know, I like, I love, and he has been a mentor. Helped get me out of trouble when I was a kid, when he was just an attorney, Royce West. Okay? I'm a business owner, no good. Okay? I was asked to go to a taping of a commercial when he was running for Congress. Okay? What I saw when I got there was a script that was written that said absolutely nothing. And I just walked in, but I know her real well. So I know what she's gonna say. But here's the thing. I'm gonna say this. If you wanna go from passion to the vote, I'm gonna tell y'all this is real business. Most politicians, from whatever level they are, from city council to whatever the case, the things that they say sound like an invitation to a bad blind date. The things that they say are not impactful. I'm 53 years old. My wife is 52. Let me tell you something. Now, I got a daughter who's 22. Okay? But other than that, we're not worried about abortion. You see? There's a lot of things that people talk about, mainstream people in politics talk about, that say absolutely nothing to move the needle for the people that they need in their constituency. So if you are in the black community and somebody said something, talk to you about voting. Now, if you in, let's say, okay, it don't look bad. Imagine one time when we were in high school, right? Okay? One time when we were in high school. Okay? Now, you walk, my first time walking in Buntown, me and my little brother walking over there, I was going to see some little girl. And he said, "Ooh," I said, "Oh, come on." He said, "What?" I said, "Come on." You know what it was? Step over there, come on. It was a dead body. Okay? Now, if you're in the neighborhood and you're a city council person, a senator, congressman, whatever the case, and you want to talk to those people, you can't talk to them about their taxes or whatever the case, because they're not at the level where that stuff really in their mind matters to them. What matters to them is dead bodies on their sidewalk.
Yeah.
What matters to them is lighting up their streets so the crime element moves away. So we have to say things that are impactful to the people who are voting. And if you don't, then you're not going to get them to vote.
Okay, I'm gonna let somebody answer that.
You made a comment, and politicians have to say something that impacts you, right?
Yes.
I want to hear your response.
What did you think?
I think what the citizen has to do is to answer her questions, especially for our generation, and I'm under 40, I'm 38. We really have to understand what are the issues that matter to us right now in this season. And that's why, I mean, when we have to know why people aren't voting, because the mistake we're making with everybody who's under 40 is we're making this a historical and legacy moment. And right now, 2024 cannot be a historical and a legacy moment. It must be about right now. Okay? I wasn't there for Emmett Till, but I sure was alive for Ahmaud Arbery. And the way that boy dropped in color, not in black and white, but in color, what has changed my, it's like stuck. It's one of them little memory bricks that's just there. You can't get rid of it. So the citizens have to really know what their issues are. Is gun violence your issue? Okay, is abortion your issue? Is poor education your issue? And right now, unfortunately, we're walking around angry and upset, you know, in terms of police. And we know police brutality is an issue, but at the same time, we've had to stop in our tracks because having police officers is a part of protecting society, right? So we weren't clever enough just yet to understand what defunding the police means, but how do we maintain order? You know what I'm saying? So that is kind of the response of what we have to do. We have to really understand what our issues are, and then find the people who are in charge of either authorizing the for or against.
Did you get that?
I do, but I got a real good
I bet you do, but we're going to come back to you. I got somebody else with a question. Hold on.
What I would like to know, I think everybody in this room understands what the issues are. And we understand that people need to know the issues to actually go to the polls and vote. What I would like to know is your opinions of how can we reach these people? How can we, we know we need to tell. We know what the issues are. How do we reach them?
You know how I reach them. If I don't mind getting in their face and sending emails and calling, I harass them, I do. But let's hear the political way to do it.
Well, I think we first have to satisfy an immediate need, right? Like, we can't tell someone to act like they're not in pain in order to show up for us, right? Like, Bobby Seale, when he was running for mayor in Oakland, he was handing out bags of groceries and doing voter registration, right? So we have to first acknowledge, like, these people are in pain, right? These people may not know where they're going to be living at the end of the month. They may not have food in their refrigerator or gas in their car. And so we have to acknowledge the human being and offer a way to satisfy a need. I might not be able to pay your rent, but I can make sure your kids can eat 2 or 3 times a week. You know, and maybe not out of my pocket, but I can connect them to resources, right? So just opening ourselves up and trying to satisfy a need and then connecting the fulfillment of that need to a policy, right? Like, this food pantry is open because such and such funded it through this policy. So this is an elected official, but this is also a policy that's in place, right? So, like, connecting those pieces.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? Y'all, we have a hard stop at 8 o'clock, but I want to get in as many questions that you guys have.
Let the brother give us his bottle. I love it.
Do we have any more questions? Okay. I'm gonna let you make your last statement.
This ain't my last. Amen. Okay, but here's the thing. So I'm gonna say this though. In the statements that we make towards people, and I'm not a politician. Trust me, that's really not my forte. But the things that have to be said are things that are impactful to you. Now, sister said, you know, we know here's the thing. Two things. One thing about black people, we have a problem with duality. We have a problem with two things being true at one time. Okay? That some of the issues that might be something to her might not be something I care about at all. Okay? And you have to think about, even like, I can say this, I'm not sure if many of you all remember the incident where the bus and the caravan full of white supremacists pulled up in Dr. Haynes' parking lot. Well, let me tell you something. I used to own a business that was right down the street from here. Okay? We heard that. And by the time I got from Camp Wisdom right down the street, it was at least 20 people that I knew armed to the hip, ready to go to war. 10 of them was, I know, certified felons, and did not care who saw them on TV with their arms. Okay? So, two things can be true at once. You can talk about defunding the police, and you got a section of society that don't give a damn about gun control because they don't want people to take their firearms for a total, or to know they officially got them for a totally different reason. So we cannot do this whole blanket thing that all these black people want this and all these black people want that. You know, Veteran with the Skyline, I want the BA. BA ain't got the Negro over there now. Okay? And the thing about it is, when I went there, the people used to mess with me, some of my friends, because we lived in district and all the other black kids came from M&M transfer. So 2, 3, 4, 5 things can be true at once. And we have to address the things that matter. Sometimes it is to the minutia of the voter, to the people, not just the groups or whatever the case. All y'all in here Baptists, or all y'all think about this. No, it's you go to St. Luke and this matters to you, but you might go to St. Luke and that has no merit to you. We have to address the things that are valuable to the people, that have impact for the people. And it's easy, whether we understand this or not, to answer Lavella's question, to make that impact, get that passion, it's as easy as social media. Everybody and their brother and their dog got a cell phone. We all got a social media account. It is so easy, and I've been pushing the same point for 3 years. I've been saying it for 3 years, nobody's listening. I signed up to be, I go out and help people register to vote, and we talk. Oh.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your candidness or whatever. Thank you. I want to give our panelists an opportunity to give us some closing remarks so that we can let you guys go home. Was this good? Did y'all get anything out of this?
Absolutely.
Did y'all want to see more of these? I would. So I'm going to let them give us some remarks and close this out.
I want to take the opportunity to thank Mr. Coleman for allowing us here tonight. Thank you, Anthony, and the owners of this business for allowing us here. Also, if you don't know Jason Stanford, Jason is in the house. Jason is a business owner in the Oak Cliff area. He invited us to do voter registration in his business several years ago. So he's not, I say, I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. So I can testify he's been out there as a business owner supporting a lot of these issues. I'm going to pose this, and it's not going to be it won't be popular, but I know what works. I can tell you the research supports it. At some point, black people got to get beyond ourselves. We so caught in, if it's not about me, I'm not in. What do I benefit from this? We got to get beyond how do I benefit from this. The reason we were so successful in the civil rights movement is because it wasn't, everybody didn't need to stop riding the bus. Everybody wasn't riding the bus. Everybody didn't benefit from a lot of those actions. But they did it because it was what was good for the whole. And until we understand that our behaviors, our individual behaviors are good for the whole, right now, I don't benefit from Medicare. I hope to someday be able to qualify for Medicare and to benefit from Medicare. But I do know that there are some elected officials that support Medicare, that support health benefits. I don't benefit from that right now. But I want to make sure that when I do, that I am able to obtain it like everyone else. When we look at abortion, no, that's not an issue for us right now. That's not an issue for me right now, right? But I do know that is a huge issue in our community. I'm going to vote to support that. It doesn't mean that I get to benefit it. So black people have to understand it's not going to always benefit you individually in your household, but it is about our people as a whole. And until we understand that as individuals, that we can benefit collectively, that we won't move forward. We can't progress thinking, what can I benefit every single time? It's not going to happen. We know that President Biden has missed the mark. Lord knows, I'm here to tell you, he has not been the president that we expected. But what he did do, he promised us that he will put black women in certain spaces, and he did do that. He did ensure that we had the first black woman Supreme Court justice. He made true to that promise. He did ensure that a lot of people, that their college loan debt was removed. I keep seeing people posting it on Facebook. I want to get in that number, Lord. I'm not there yet, but when I do, I'm going to post it too. A lot of people, Lord, they don't remove my debt. I'm not there. But when I get there, I'm going to share it too. So there are a lot of places that President Biden has missed the mark, but he has come true on some of his promises. So what I'm wanting, and I'm going to challenge us to do, is get beyond our individual expectations and how we think we can benefit and understand it's about the collective people. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I would say that as a collective, we have to get back to honor, reciprocity, and find hope. I think that we don't honor each other. We don't honor the human being that we're looking at. We don't look each other in the eyes. We don't hug each other. We don't share a smile with each other. And that makes us feel like we're in this fight alone. When a lot of us have, even if we don't have, we're not affected in the same way. A lot of us have similar issues. A lot of us are not making enough money. A lot of us are paying too much for the place that we live in, right? A lot of us have debt from school when we didn't have earning potential that should have, that satisfies the amount of debt we took out, right? So we have to learn how to honor each other. I also think we need that reciprocity. We have to do business with each other. We have to spend our money with each other. Because if we don't keep the money in our community, how can we fund our own candidates? How can we decide who gets on the ballot, right? And then the last thing is hope. My political experience was born out of hope. Like Obama was the first time I was able to vote, and there was hope that pushed that campaign, right? Versus the fear. Like all of us are operating out of fear right now, which is why we can't really make a decision because we don't feel security in any of our options. But when we get to a place where we're grounded in hope, then we won't be so swayed by people who don't agree with us, because I can still honor you as a human being. I know where I stand because I know what's important to me, but I can still show up in solidarity because you still need a place to live, even if I'm good, right? And so I think all three of those things will help us to really show up for each other and for ourselves, because I think a lot of us don't show up for ourselves. We don't even really take inventory of what we need, especially black women, right? Black women are supposed to fight for everybody, and we never really fully take inventory of what we need in order to raise our family, in order to serve our husbands, right? And that reciprocity, our husbands should be serving us, right? There needs to be honor within our families in order for that to trickle into society.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Reuben, close us
Well,
out.
there's not much for me to close out with, but what I'll say in brief, similar to what they're saying, we have to remove the Mandingo complex that has plagued our community for so long. We've been pitted against each other. Everyone's seen Django, right?
Yes.
And that means they fought to the death for sport and for game. That residue is still on us. I'm watching our 7th and our 8th graders in 75216 just fight stupid stuff out to the death. They ain't really about nothing. So we gotta get rid of this competitive spirit. You know, I mentioned earlier, we have our elected officials hopping over, well, this person's running for this, so let me run for this spot. No, just stay where you at. It's not a competition. We supposed to be on the same team. I think that's why we're not seeing the trajectory, is because we're always splitting the black vote, because we're always running against each other. Or whatever resources are available, we've allowed tokenism to make us believe that there's only room enough for just one. So we're competing for the same thing when one person should be opening the door, walking through the door, keeping the door open for the next person. It should just be a train. We should have a hotel revolving door, but we haven't created that because we've allowed the Mandingo competitiveness that our oppressor has given to us to become an innate feature that, okay, well, you black, I'm black, well, only one of us can go. No, we all can go. And I think that's what we suffer with as affluent black people when we really see the trajectory of non-affluent black people who help us turn the tide. They see the difference and we approach them with the difference. We don't embrace the commonality of the color of our skin. We see the difference in the amount that's in our bank account. And when we're looking at them and they're looking at us and we're in polos and they're in jeans and the only shirt that they have, they can see, oh, this person's not really here for me. They have an ulterior motive. So we have to really figure out how are we going to remove this competitive spirit that's amongst us and model more of a collaborative, collective power so that our young people can see it, because right now they're seeing us fight each other. They're seeing us divide, you know, our political power. So they're just like, there's really no reason why I should plug in, because I need to plug into the resource or the camp that's going to get me where I need to get, versus I just need to be plugged in because all of us are working towards the same goal. So if we get rid of that, the last thing I'll say is this: from now to November. Is November now? It's non-stop. From November to November. You got to be, should be, must be, have to be a walking, talking billboard every single day. For 365 days, my biggest encouragement to you, if that means you're wearing a voting t-shirt, if that means you wear your voting t-shirt and you post it on social media, we have to be walking, talking billboards in person, virtually, and everywhere that I go. I'm a teacher. I'm at the John Lewis Social Justice Academy at Oliver Wendell Homes. That's our new name in Oak Cliff, thanks to Trustee Maxie Johnson. But I had to be intuitive enough as an educator to know I need to wear a voting t-shirt once a week, so that my kids understand, oh, I have a person who's going to vote. Now I can continue to challenge the teachers, but if I can be a model, okay, that means I'm depositing a seed in the mind that by the time they get 18, they go like, you know what, Mr. Griffin talked to us about voting every day. We was in choir class, but he was talking to about why we were singing We Shall Overcome and what We Shall Overcome meant and how I fit into the verse of We Shall Overcome and what's my responsibility to We Shall Overcome. Even though it's a fine arts class, I'm connecting it to the work that they need to take on as a citizen within our society. So whether you 65, 71, 31, 25, if we do not become the authors of the narrative that we want this narrative, this election to be, it'll be whatever they predict it to be.
Y'all, can we put our hands together and give our panelists a big hand of applause? Was this helpful? This is good. I want to turn it over real quickly to our first vice president of the Texas NAACP, Mr. Casey Thomas. Thank you. This opportunity was presented, made available for you all tonight by this one right here. If you all want to see more of this, hit us up on our Facebook, social media pages, and I promise you we'll make it happen.
So once again, let's give them a round of applause. Let's give President Tangi a round of applause. I want her to know that her branch is doing great things. She gave up being she's the president of the Tri-City branch, which is City Hill, Lancaster, and DeSoto. She gave up leading her branch meeting tonight to be here with us. So I left so I could be virtually on her meeting. So we kind of switched places, but everything was well. I want you to know it's good. You have done a great job. They handled the meeting very well. State Board Member Davis jumped on and she set it on fire. Okay. And so it was very, very good. But as I was getting ready to come up and we were closing out, I was thinking about this. Oftentimes at the church, on the night when they have choir rehearsal, they have Bible study before the choir rehearsal. But oftentimes people wait until Bible study is over to get there just in time for choir rehearsal.
What you say? Okay.
So I know tonight we got a great night of line dance, and most of us gonna stay here after and just enjoy being here with you. But you didn't wait until the Bible study was over to come to choir rehearsal. You came to the Bible study, and hopefully something you heard tonight inspires you to have a conversation with other people. Because the only way we're going to change our city, change our state, is us right here in the room. Superman is not coming for us. We got to be that Superman for one another and encourage one another. And I want to thank you. And more than anything, I want to thank Anthony. Anthony saw the vision, the owner of this great establishment. Let's give Anthony a round of applause. We got a great location, very professional, great food, great environment, where we can do the things that we need to do for us. Y'all remember FUBU for us, by us, many years ago? Well, we doing this FUBU style. We doing this for us, by us, so we can help and support us move things forward. So thank you, everyone. If you didn't get something to eat, we got plenty of food over here. I want to thank Dionna with Texas Rising, who sponsored the food tonight. That way everybody got a chance to get fed mentally, spiritually, and physically. So if you haven't had a chance, please, you're here, we're all family, enjoy, and then we're going to turn it over to our DJ so we can get everything going with the line dance. So thank y'all, appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you, CW, I know you didn't ask for this, for going live. He's got thousands of people that follow him on social media. So because of him, thousands of people are seeing this conversation discussion. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.